Hey everybody, John Morris here with wealthpowerhappiness.com. I just got off the phone with a very invigorating phone call with a visionary friend of mine, and he had asked me some very specific questions about wealth creation. And as I was answering those questions, it clicked in my head that it would probably be something very beneficial for you. So I decided to upload that video, or part of that video here, for you. So if you're interested in creating wealth at all, then you'll definitely want to check out the rest. I want to know, essentially, if there was one single piece of advice that I would give someone who is interested in, creating wealth, making money, what would that be? Okay, and it's the thing that I constantly think about, and the thing that I constantly am doing. And so my one single piece of advice, I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'm going to explain, exactly what I mean. So, but one single piece of advice would be to continually work on your own personal power. And here's what I mean by that. If you've heard Rich Schefron talk, or seen any of his stuff, one thing that he talks about, he's in fact got an entire course on it, and that is, he talks about building a business around your strength, and finding out what you're so good at that you don't even realize you're good at, right? And building a business around that. Well, I like to take it a step further and talk about building a business around your power, right? And we all have an inner power, a natural source of power that for us, you might call as our downstream, our downstream power. It's so easy for us. We're so into it that we don't even realize it at times. And so, have you ever seen the show Pink Slips? I can't remember the exact name, where they line up and they race the cars for the pink slips, right? Now, you've seen that? Okay. Now, imagine if you were to line up a souped up, tricked out Dodge Charger, right, against a Yugo. Now, obviously, you know which one of those cars is going to win that race, but what we're looking at when we're talking about this is we're looking at why. Okay? Now, Webster defines power as the ability to do work over time. And when we're talking about work, we're not talking about, going to your job and slaving away for 8 hours. What we're talking about is, joules of work, like energy expenditure. So the way I like to look at it is the ability to generate action over time. And when you look at a Dodge Viper versus a Yugo, you can see that a Dodge Viper has the ability to create a tremendous more amounts of action in shorter amounts of time, which allows it to run down the racetrack much quicker and blow the Yugo out of the water. And so that we call that car, that Viper, more powerful, right? So the ability to generate action over time. Now, one of the concepts that we talk about inside the wealthpowerhappiness.com, the community we're building, is the concept that value drives action. And the way this works is, for every action that you take that action. Again, we're looking at why. You take that action because you perceive or you believe that you're going to receive some sort of action or some sort of value in return for that action. So if you get up and run, in the morning, you do that for a reason, right? You don't just run for nothing. And for you, the value you receive could be your health, improving your health. It could be improving the way you look, maybe to attract the opposite sex. It could be just the simple enjoyment and satisfaction of running, right? But no matter what it is, all of those things are value. They're valuable things. They're what we call values. Okay, health, attracting the opposite sex, our looks, satisfaction, enjoyment. Those are all things that are of value. And so you take that action to receive value. And so consider that every action you take on a daily basis, day in and day out, is because you believe you're going to receive some sort of value in return for that. Okay, so we talk about this concept then that value drives action. And when you're talking about business or relationships, and especially when you're talking about value or wealth creation, right? Then you're talking about creating an amount of value in order to get your customers to take the action that you want them to take, which is to fill out the credit card form and send you their money, right? And so the more value that you can put on the other side of that action waiting for your customer, then the more likely they're going to be to take that action. And when you go, you've heard a lot of people talk about over-delivering. When you give more value than what someone would reasonably expect to pay and what you're charging for that value, when you give more value than what you do, is that's when you tap into the whole viral and word-of-mouth marketing type ideas, where you get people then that they can't believe how much value they're getting, and then they begin to start telling their friends and everybody they know about what you're doing, because they just can't believe that you're giving away that much value and not charging for it, right? So that is one of the most tremendous powers in business and marketing, right? But you can't create that value, you can't deliver that value unless you can create it, right? And so then we begin to talk about power, the ability to generate action, and value driving actions. Then your ability, your power, your ability to generate action comes directly from your ability to create values that yourself and others will take action to get. Okay? So when you're able to create that value on the other side of those actions, then you have power to generate action. Okay? So if you can't create that value, then you can't create the wealth. And so one of our base concepts that we talk about in the Wealth Power Happiness course that we're creating is the idea that power is value creation. That you give yourself genuine power when you are able to create values that yourself and others will act to get. Okay? Now, if you've read any of the recent reports that's come out, in the internet marketing world by John Reese or Rich Sheffron, then you've heard them talk about this idea of value and how important it is, right? What you don't see a lot of people talk about is how to actually go about, creating that value. Now, you'll see people talk about how to create products and product creation, right, which is a very specific form of value creation. But what you rarely see is how to yourself become a value creator. Because if you become a value creator to the point where, I like the analogy of Bruce Lee. Would you prefer to learn martial arts from Bruce Lee or your yellow belt buddy who is just starting out? Now, if you're really serious about martial arts and you really want to, take it on, you're going to want to find the absolute best and go learn from them, right? Okay, so it's the same thing. Your ability to create value, just being a Bruce Lee of whatever it is that you're interested in, is what gives you your power. And if you can't do that, then if you don't have that value oozing out of you, like Bruce Lee had martial arts value just oozing out of him, if you don't have that, then you're not going to be able to create the large amounts of value to put on the other side of the actions you want people to take. And you're especially not going to be able to over-deliver, right? Because you're always going to be behind the power curve, struggling to create value. And if you ever feel yourself struggling, then you can know that that's the first place you should look is, are you operating within your power zone? What is your natural power? Okay. And what you don't see is a lot of people tell you how to actually become a value creator. They say it's important, but you don't actually see a systemized process for becoming a value creator. And that's what we that's what we do inside the wealthpowerhappiness.com. That's what our e-course, the foundation of the entire community and training and everything is based on becoming a value creator. Because when you can generate value at will, right, it just is oozing out of you, then you can begin to create wealth and happiness at will.